You think the argument ended when the words stopped. But in quantum reality, it's still alive inside you. And as long as you keep rehearsing it, you're creating the same conflict again and again. Every replay is not just a memory, it's an energetic broadcast. Your body tenses, your chest tightens, your thoughts spiral, and without realizing it, you're living the fight over and over. It feels like you're remembering, but in truth, you're recreating. Because your subconscious cannot tell the difference between the past you replay and the present you're standing in. This is why arguments echo longer than words. This is why a single moment can steal days. Not because of what happened, but because of what you continue to feed with your focus. Your mind does not replay by accident. It replays because it craves closure. It wants to rewrite the ending, to win the battle it feels it lost in words. But every time you press rewind, you anchor yourself deeper in the wound. This is not weakness, it is survival. Your brain was designed to scan for danger, to protect you from pain. And what is an argument, if not a threat to your belonging, to your peace, to your sense of love? So the mind circles back, it whispers, if I replay this enough, maybe I can fix it. But instead of fixing, it reopens. Instead of freeing, it chains you. Your nervous system fires as if the fight is happening right now. Your heart races. Your body tightens. The past event is gone, but the frequency of it is still echoing through you. And that frequency is what the world responds to, not your words, not your wishes, but the energy you're rehearsing on repeat. Every replay is not just thought. It is energy, and energy is never neutral. It either creates coherence or it creates conflict. When you rehearse the argument in your mind, your body floods with the same chemistry it released in that moment. Your muscles tighten. Your breath shortens. You relive the storm as if it never ended. And here's the quantum truth. The field around you does not measure time. It does not say, that was yesterday or that was last week. It only reads the vibration you are carrying now. So every time you replay, you are broadcasting anger, fear, frustration. You are sending the signal, this is my reality. And the field mirrors it back to you, with more arguments, more tension, more chaos. The trap is this: you think you're remembering the past, but in truth, you're manifesting the future. Quantum physics has revealed a secret most people never consider: what you observe. You collapse into reality. In the famous double-slit experiment, light behaved one way when no one was watching, and another way entirely when observed. The act of watching changed the outcome. Now, think about what happens when you keep watching that argument in your mind. Every replay is an observation. Every observation collapses it deeper into your reality. The fight is over in the outer world, but inside, you are the observer keeping it alive. Instead of I argued, it becomes I am angry. Instead of that moment hurt, it becomes I am hurt. Do you see the shift? The scene transforms into an identity, and once it becomes identity, the loop continues without permission. This is why you feel stuck. This is why the same conflicts seem to find you again and again, not because life is against you, but because your observation is recreating the same film on repeat. So how do you break free? The secret is not to rewrite the scene with sharper comebacks or different words. The secret is to stop feeding it with energy, because energy is attention, and attention is creation. Notice your breath. Feel how the memory tries to pull you in like quicksand. And in that moment, whisper to yourself, "This is only a memory. It is not me. I choose a new signal." Shift your focus from what I should have said to who I choose to be now. Because the fight is not happening anymore, but the identity you carry from it still is. And when you choose a new identity, the loop has nothing left to cling to. It dissolves. It loses its power. And for the first time, peace enters the space where conflict used to live. Manifestation is never about controlling the other person. It is about collapsing into the version of you that already. Ask yourself, who would I be if this argument no longer defined me? What would my breath feel like if my chest wasn't carrying the weight of those words? What decisions would I make if I was no longer fueled by anger, regret, or shame? Close your eyes. See yourself as the version who has already released it. Notice their calm face. Notice the way they walk away lighter, shoulders no longer heavy. Notice the way they speak, not to defend, but to express. Not to win, but to be free. This is the identity switch. It is not pretending. It is remembering. You are not the fight. You are the one who chooses who you become after it. And when you embody that version, the field because the universe does not speak your words, it speaks your state. And the state you embody is the signal it mirrors back. Here is how you take back your power. Not with force, not with denial, but with ritual. The next time the argument rises in your mind, don't fight it, don't push it down, don't let it consume you either. Instead, breathe. Inhale slowly through your nose. Hold for a moment. And as you exhale, see the scene dissolving, like smoke fading into air, like mist clearing under the sun. Then replace it with a new image. See yourself smiling. See yourself walking away lighter, untouched by the echo of the fight. See yourself calm, steady, free. Repeat this daily. Not once, not twice, but until your body learns the new story. Because the subconscious does not change through logic. It changes through repetition, through emotion, through state. And the more you rehearse peace, the more peace becomes your default setting, until one day the argument rises in memory and your body no longer reacts. It has no hook. It has no power. It simply passes, like a cloud drifting across an open sky. At first, it will feel subtle, almost invisible, but inside, the shift begins. The same words that once triggered you no longer land the same way. The same memories that once burned in your chest lose their fire. You realize the scene hasn't changed, you have. And when you change, everything around you begins to reorganize. The tension with that friend softens. The heaviness in your home lifts. Even your own reflection feels different, because you are no longer carrying the weight of replayed pain. This is the silent transformation. It doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It happens in the quiet, in the space between thoughts, where the old story fades and the new self begins to rise. And the field, the great mirror, it sees your calm, it feels your stability, and it rearranges reality to match it. But let's be honest, there is always a cost. Every time you replay that argument, you spend something precious. You spend your energy. You spend your peace. You spend the present moment pouring it into a past that no longer exists. And what happens when your energy is tied to yesterday? You have nothing left to create today. You have no room to call in tomorrow. Holding on keeps you locked in survival. It convinces you that you are still under attack. So your body stays in defense. And a body in defense cannot open to abundance. A mind at war cannot imagine possibility. A heart replaying pain cannot broadcast love. This is why your manifestations stall. Not because you aren't worthy, not because you aren't trying, but because your frequency is already occupied, trapped in the loop of what was, and until you release it, the future cannot enter. Every loop reaches a crossroads, and the question is simple. Will you keep feeding it, or will you release it? This is the choice point. The argument can live forever inside you, or it can end the moment you decide to stop pressing play. You are not powerless. You are not chained to that moment. You are the observer, the one holding the reel, the one who chooses which film runs through the projector of your mind. Yes, they may have said the words. Yes, the moment may have hurt, but now the replay belongs to you, and so does the power to end it. Every time you notice the loop and redirect, you are training your subconscious to follow you, not the past, not the pain, not the echo, but the present identity you choose. This is freedom, not erasing the memory, but reclaiming your authority over it. When you release the replay, something powerful happens. The old broadcast fades, and a new signal begins. Instead of sending out anger, you radiate calm. Instead of replaying hurt, you embody strength. Instead of manifesting more conflict, you align with peace, with clarity, with balance. The field, that invisible mirror responding to your state, cannot ignore it. It reflects what you are, not what you wish for, not what you beg for, but what you become. And as you become steady, life steadies. As you become forgiving, new doors open. As you become free, relationships shift, opportunities appear, and even the air around you feels lighter. This is the new signal, and the moment you hold it long enough, the universe reorganizes to meet you there. But understand this. Every new frequency comes with a test. Life will send you echoes, small triggers, familiar tones, to see if you will slip back into the old loop, or if you will hold the new signal steady. That coworker may raise their voice again. That friend may press the same button. That memory may sneak back late at night. And in that moment, you are being asked, are you the old self still chained to reaction? Or are you the new self anchored in calm? The test is not punishment. It is proof. It is life making sure your signal is real, that you are no longer rehearsing the argument, but rehearsing freedom. If you pass the test, the loop weakens. If you pass again, it dissolves. And soon, the triggers lose their power entirely. This is how you know the shift is complete. When the old scene plays before you, the real victory is not in winning the argument. It is not in proving you were right or finally saying the perfect words. The real victory is inner. It is the day you realize the fight no longer controls you. The day your body stays calm when the memory surfaces. The day your breath remains steady even when voices rise around you. Because no one outside you can give it. and no one outside you can take it away. When you win this inner victory, you stop needing closure from others. You stop waiting for apologies. You stop chasing the perfect ending. Instead, you create your own ending. You write it not with words, but with energy, not with debate, but with embodiment. And that inner victory is the foundation for every manifestation that follows. Because once you can master your state in the middle of conflict, you can master your state in the middle of creation. Every replay steals energy. Every "I should have said this" drains a little more life force from you. And when you finally release the loop, you reclaim all that power. Suddenly, the weight you've been carrying lifts. Your thoughts are clearer. Your body feels lighter. You wake up with energy that used to be tied to yesterday's battles. This is not imagination. It is physics. Energy cannot be destroyed, only redirected. And when you stop pouring it into the memory of conflict, that same energy flows into creation. You'll notice yourself dreaming again. You'll notice fresh ideas arriving. You'll notice opportunities appearing where there was once only tension, because the current of your life is no longer blocked by the dam of replay. It runs free. It runs clear. It runs straight into the future you've been asking for. And the more you reclaim, the more you realize. Peace is not passive. Peace is power. Return to its rightful place within you. Stillness is not weakness. It is not silence in defeat. It is the highest form of strength. When you choose stillness after conflict, you are telling your body, "We are safe now." You are teaching your mind, "We don't need to fight this again." And you are broadcasting into the field. My signal is peace. My frequency is calm. The world does not respond to your words. It responds to your state. And stillness is the state that carries the most weight. Think about it. A storm makes noise, but it passes. The mountain is silent, yet it endures. Stillness anchors you, like the mountain, unshaken, unmoved. A presence so strong that conflict loses its grip. And when the universe reads that stillness, it reflects back stability, clarity, alignment. Arguments lose their echo. Chaos loses its fuel, and life begins to feel steady again. This is the power of stillness. It is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of mastery. When you master one replay, you don't just free yourself from a single fight. You rewire the way you meet every challenge ahead. The next disagreement won't land the same way. The next harsh word won't cut as deep. The next test won't drag you back into the... Because now you understand. The power was never in the words. It was never in the other person. It was always in your state. Beyond the argument lies a new self-one, who no longer reacts, but responds. One who no longer carries, but releases. One who no longer loops, but creates. This self walks lighter. This self no longer confuses memory with destiny. And once you step beyond the argument, you step into freedom. Not just for this moment, but for every moment to come. Relationships are mirrors. They reflect not just who others are, but the state you carry within. When you hold anger, you see more anger. When you hold fear, you find more reasons to be afraid. But when you hold calm, the mirror shifts. People sense it without words. Your steady breath, your relaxed tone, your quiet presence. It disarms the storm around you. Those who once argued with you may soften in your company. Those who once triggered you may lose their power to shake you. Even strangers feel it, because frequency speaks louder than language. This is why inner work is never selfish. When you heal the replay inside, you change the reflection outside, and suddenly, conversations flow differently. Conflicts end quicker, love finds, your relationships transform. Not because they changed first, but because you changed the signal they were reflecting. There comes a day when the loop no longer calls you. The memory rises, and it feels distant, like a faint echo in another room. Your body doesn't tighten. Your breath doesn't race. The replay has no hook. This is freedom, not the kind that arrives with applause, but the quiet kind, the kind that lets you sleep deeper, wake lighter, and walk through life unchained. When the loop ends, the past finally loosens its grip. It no longer shapes your today, it no longer steals your tomorrow. And in that space, a new timeline opens, one not built on regret, but on possibility, one not rehearsing pain, but rehearsing peace. One where arguments no longer define you, because you have chosen who you are beyond them. Freedom is not forgetting. It is remembering without reliving. It is carrying the wisdom, but not the wound. It is stepping forward with clarity while leaving the chains behind. When you break free from one loop, you don't just silence an argument. You expand your entire sense of self. Because every replay was a boundary. Every "I should have said this" was a wall. Every "why did I lose my temper" was a cage keeping you smaller than you are. But the moment you step out of that cage, you discover space, space to breathe, space to create, space to imagine a life beyond survival. You realize you are not the fight. You are not the memory. You are not the echo of anger in your chest. You are awareness itself. You are the one who chooses the next identity, the next signal, the next timeline. And with every expansion, your world expands too. Opportunities appear. Relationships deepen. Peace becomes normal. Abundance feels closer. Because when you expand beyond the replay, you expand into the self. Living the new timeline is not about perfection. It is not about never feeling triggered again. It is about choosing again and again to no longer fuel the old story. The memory may rise. Let it rise. The thought may whisper. Let it whisper. But you are no longer required to answer. Instead, you breathe. You return to the present. You remember who you are now, not who you were in that fight. This is daily practice, not once, not twice, but every moment the loop tries to return, you meet it with stillness. You meet it with choice. You meet it with the identity of peace. And slowly, the new timeline strengthens. Your body, your subconscious plays freedom instead of fear. Your reality begins to mirror clarity instead of conflict. This is how timelines shift, not with one giant leap, but with small, steady choices that stack upon each other. Until one day, the old self feels like a stranger you no longer recognize. Your shift does not. Every change in your frequency sends out ripples, touching every life connected to yours. When you stop replaying the fight, your conversations change. Your tone softens. Your presence feels lighter, and people respond differently, even if they don't know why. The friend who once argued with you feels less need to defend. The partner who once braced for conflict begins to relax around you. Even strangers sense it because peace is felt long before it is spoken. This is the ripple effect. One healed loop within you creates harmony beyond you. One choice to release the past makes space for others to do the same. You don't have to preach it. You don't have to explain it. You only have to embody it. And embodiment becomes the loudest teaching of all. Because when you broadcast calm, the world remembers calm. When you embody forgiveness, the world remembers healing. And when you choose peace, you give others permission to choose it too from a higher view. The argument was never just about words. It was a mirror. It was a teacher. It was a moment designed to show you where you still carried pain inside, the anger that rose. It revealed the wound that needed release, the regret that lingered. It pointed to the place where forgiveness was missing, the replay that would not end. It showed you the power of your own focus. Seen through this lens, the conflict was not a curse. It was a doorway. It pushed you toward the realization that nothing outside of you can control the state you live in, unless you give it permission. And once you see this, the story changes. The argument stops being something that broke you and becomes something that woke you. You carry it as wisdom. You no longer see it as loss. You see it as the exact moment that led you here, to awareness, to mastery, to freedom. This is the higher perspective. Life does not punish. It points. And the argument was only pointing you back to yourself. Awareness is powerful, but without practice, the old loop. This is why daily alignment matters. Each morning before the world speaks to you, speak to yourself. Breathe deeply, feel your chest rise and fall, and set the intention. Today I release what no longer belongs to me. When the memory of the argument surfaces, pause. Don't fight it. Don't feed it. Simply notice it and let your breath carry it away. Like waves pulling back into the ocean. You can even place your hand on your heart. Remind yourself, I am not the past. I am the present. Repeat it until your body feels the truth of it. And at night, before sleep, review your day gently. Celebrate the moments you stayed calm. Acknowledge the moments you caught yourself before the replay began. Even small wins matter because each one rewires your state. This daily alignment is not complicated. It is simple, it is steady, and it is the repetition that transforms. The subconscious learns through rhythm, and the more you practice calm, the more calm becomes who you are. With time, practice becomes identity. What began as effort to breathe, to redirect, turns into who you naturally are. You wake up and no longer search for the replay. Your mind feels quieter. Your body feels lighter. Peace no longer feels like something you practice. Not the self chained to arguments. Not the self defined by regret. But the self who carries stillness into every room. The self who no longer reacts, but responds with clarity. And here is the secret of manifestation. The field does not mirror what you try to be. It mirrors who you are. When peace becomes identity, peace surrounds you. When forgiveness becomes identity, forgiveness finds you. When strength becomes identity, life meets you with strength. This is how you collapse the old timeline and step fully into the new, not by forcing it, but by embodying it until it becomes the only version of you the world recognizes. Now comes the real journey. Learning to walk forward without carrying the weight behind you. The past will try to whisper. The memory may knock on the door of your mind, but you no longer have to answer. Because you know where that path leads. Walking forward means choosing presence over replay. It means giving your energy to creation, not correction. It means planting your focus in what you want to grow, instead of watering the weeds of yesterday, step by step. This becomes natural. Conversations feel lighter. Decisions feel clearer. Life feels less like a battlefield and more like an open. And every step you take as this new self builds momentum. Momentum toward peace. Momentum toward abundance. Momentum toward a reality no longer shaped by arguments, but by alignment. This is walking forward, not escaping the past, but carrying the wisdom of it without the weight. So remember this truth. The argument never truly ends when you decide to stop replaying it. It ends when you release the loop, reclaim your energy, and choose peace as your identity. You are not the fight. You are not the regret. You are not the echo of anger replaying in your mind. You are the observer. You are the projector. You are the one who chooses the film that runs through your life. And every time you choose stillness over replay, clarity over chaos, presence over the past, you collapse into a new timeline, a life no longer defined by arguments, but by alignment. So walk forward now. Step into the version of yourself who no longer lives in the echo. Choose the signal you want the world to mirror back. Because reality is always listening, and it doesn't respond to what you replay. It responds to who you become. If this message reached you today, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe for more journeys into the science of manifestation and the art of inner freedom. And remember, the field doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your state.